Hello everybody, my name is Sniping Spawn, and I welcome you all back to the next character, the next newcomer idea in this series of newcomer ideas, talking about various character ideas, new character ideas for the upcoming Smash Bros. Game on Nintendo Switch, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. And now we are on character number 77. We're almost to 80, people. We're almost to 80. And I mentioned in the last video when I talked about Sub-Zero from Mortal Kombat. I'm this time going to be talking about Dark Souls, and I'm going to be talking about pretty much the major choice everyone and anyone would probably pick if Dark Souls was ever represented in Smash Bros. Solaire of Astora, praise the sun! Okay, so just like always, before this intro gets a little too long, three categories. Why does the character make sense for Smash Bros? Reasons, moveset ideas for him, and percentage chance I could see Solaire getting in the game. The Knight Solaire into this game. Why does Dark Souls deserve to get into Smash Bros? Why would we represent Dark Souls into Smash Bros? First and foremost, Dark Souls is starting to get a history on Nintendo, and it's just the first game so far. It's a remastered version of Dark Souls 1 coming to Switch, but anything in the gaming industry starts with the littlest thing. One remaster, or eventually probably can get Dark Souls 2 on the Switch, Dark Souls 3 on the Switch. Eventually Dark Souls 4 will come out. That will probably be on the Switch or the Switch's successor, Nintendo's 10th gen system. It's going to probably become a major third party on Nintendo. And in terms of Dark Souls, it's become, over the years, since its inception with Demon Souls back on the PlayStation 3 and whatnot, the Souls franchise has become one of the most popular third-party, franchises in the medium, in the field, in the gaming industry, Nintendo or otherwise. It's become like an iconic, the hard difficulty. It's like modern day Contra, modern day Diablo, and everyone's comparing the hard games to Dark Souls nowadays. That sometimes seriously, but a lot of it is a joke. It's become a major iconic third-party franchise. Now it's on Nintendo, which will gravitate and maybe start getting history on Nintendo. And it's a popular, From Software game, and publish. They're the developer, but Namco publishes it. It's become a very popular published Namco franchise, and it sells a lot, and it has a name brand to it. And in terms of Solaire of Astora specifically, he's like the mascot of Dark Souls. He's like the main character. He's referenced in almost every single one. You can get his armor, you can get his shield, you can get his sword, you can get a lot of stuff about it. And everyone always does the praise the sun. He's a mascot. He's recognizable, and he's also getting an amiibo. He, of all characters, could be getting recognized a lot more because he's getting an amiibo. He's so far the only Dark Souls amiibo. Hinted, wink, nudge, nudge, that might be a sign that he's a major character in the series. And moveset potential for him or anyone from Dark Souls would be crazy. It's like this fantasy, dark, gothic fantasy setting, and all these medieval weapons and magic and demonic monsters and all this crazy stuff that you can do. And Solaire would be just like that. So I would say, yeah, represent it. Pretty much, yeah, represent it. So that's the reason for why I feel Dark Souls deserves a representative. Solaire should be the Knight Solaire should be the choice. So let's get on the moveset potential. Now, I've only briefly played Dark Souls, and it was really only 1 and 2, just a little bit on my cousin's Xbox 360, the first one, and I own 2 on the PS3, and I put a little bit of time into it. So I've never really got into really knowing the character Solaire throughout the series, but everyone knows him. They played the series probably front and back, and I kind of had to do a little bit of research for this character because I didn't know super much about him. But it does seem like he made a very cool moveset. His smash attacks, he is a sword user. Oh no! Ah! People are going to be whining and complaining about that one, aren't they? Yeah, he's a sword user. He's a sword and shield user, so it's kind of like Link. So he uses the Sunlight Straight Sword and the Sunlight Shield. So he'll be a sword and shield fighter. So at least he'll be different. But he does use his sword differently. But like I said, people, it doesn't matter if a person uses a sword. People use this biasness against people that use swords when swords are one of the most popular weapons throughout the world's history. Swords are the common weapon. Obviously, a lot of people use them in real life, and then that translates into fantasy realms like books and movies and video games. So there you go, anyone that really hates sword users. But yeah, the Sunlight straight sword. So he's going to be doing jabs, swipes with the sword, left, right, up, down, whatever the heck. I was jumping in a slice. But he also has a shield. So he'll be able to have an extra protection, extra shield. So obviously in Smash Bros. You can use that shield that encapsulates you, but he'll have an extra backup shield too, where if you time it just right, it will stun the opponents and you can go in for a couple hits. So I'm basically thinking that is a major feature to the game. You can time correctly, and some opponents do get caught off guard by you timing and blocking their sword strikes or weapon strikes with your shield. So if you do that correctly, it could be used as just a standard protection from damage, just like the standard Smash bubble shield. But if you time it correctly, you can catch them off guard, get a couple attacks in. And you also can bash it too, so you can basically just take your shield out and be like, and smash it. He doesn't specifically use it like that, but I want to represent it like that because if I recall, you can do that actually in the Dark Souls franchise, but because I didn't want to represent only solely him through his moveset, but also some of Dark Souls entirely as well. So it's representing Dark Souls as a whole as well as him. So there you go. So that's his smash attacks. His special attacks, he has this thing called the Lightning Spear Miracle, where he takes out an electric, giant lance, spear, and he throws it. So that's his ranged attack. You could charge it back, and you could throw it with more electric energy. So you could just stand there and throw it. It's like, phew! But then you can charge it and throw it back and be like, phew! So that's his thing. He has the Lightning Spear Miracle. He also has the Great Heal Miracle. So I'm giving him his own little healing mechanism. And the same thing I basically mentioned with Celica from Fire Emblem Echoes. And there's one or two other characters I talked about having healing measures. I know that's cheap. Oh no, you have to use the healing items, and it's cheap. No, in my book, if a character can heal themselves, it has to be a risk versus reward situation where you have to really put a whole lot of risk to heal yourself. The same thing with Celica. I basically mentioned you have to heal, but it takes a while. The same thing here. You have to go and get away from the battle, and you have to charge it up so you can heal yourself. And it won't heal all your damage. You'll heal maybe 10 to 20%, but you have to wait 10 to 15 seconds without being attacked, or you have to start it over. So that's a good way of making it not OP. So you have to make sure you get away from the battle in order to use the miracle, the Great Heal Miracle, to heal yourself. He also has an orange charmed ring, which is basically fire infused. You would get it in the game itself, but I checked up on the actual character and he has it himself. I don't know if you get it specifically from him in one of the games, but I know one of the games you get from a boss battle. And it's basically fire enhanced. So he can kick you and it can cause fire damage. So he kicks you with fire kicks, and he can also tackle you, punch you, kind of tackle you kind of thing, with fire tackles, fire punches, and fire kicks. Because using the orange charmed ring that he has on, it gives him some sort of fire infusion. So he isn't as damaged by fire, but he also can attack with fire. And he also has the Sunlight Talisman, and he fights with that too. So that's basically the stuff that represents him. The Sunlight Talisman, the Great Heal Miracle, the Lightning Spear Miracle, and the Orange Charmed Ring, which causes him to attack with fire damage. And then that's representing him. But there's 3 weapons I wanted to throw into his special attacks that represent the whole series and not him. He doesn't specifically use them, but it'll be a nice little tribute to the series as a whole and what your character can use. So I'm giving him a hammer, an axe, and a crossbow. So not only does he have the lightning, spear miracle as a long range attack, he can pull out a crossbow and shoot with a crossbow. It'll be the light crossbow, so basically one of the basic ones. The axe will be a battle axe, which is a small axe. So it's like a swiping move, but it's a smaller axe than say Simon's throwing axe, but you swipe it. And the hammer will be a mace, and he'll just smack you on the head with a mace. Oh, that will hurt. It will really hurt. So those are the 3 weapons: a mace, light crossbow, and a great axe or battle axe, and make those his the small little representation of the Dark Souls franchise as a whole. And then him being his Great Spear Miracle, the Great Lightning Spear Miracle, Great Heal Miracle, the Orange Charmed Ring, and the Sunlight Talisman as his specials that represent him. So there you go. So he has range. He also has close attacks too, like most Smash characters. Now in terms of the Final Smash, I made it up because it is not an attack in the actual games, but it represents, Praise the Sun. And I call in his Final Smash Praise the Sun, where he'll just, Praise the Sun! Ah! And then a giant sun glows into the back of the background, this big giant energy sun just with the face of his, if you look at the armor, it is like that sun right there, but it has a face in it. So the sun just grows in the background, super big, and it blows up, and it will just be a big explosion and sends your opponents flying off the stage. Super simple and to the point, but it represents the frickin' Praise the Sun, which needs to be represented more than just a taunt. And it'd be funny. It'd be super hilarious to see it be like this giant energy bomb of sun energy that just blows up and sends you off the stage. Oh, I'm praising the sun. Oh, there you go, right over there. You died. That kind of thing. So yeah, that's about it for his moveset. Now let's get on to percentage chance I could see him actually getting in. And it's not the greatest. It's not the best chances. I'm throwing him into the same range of Doomguy. And Doomguy has history. Dark Souls doesn't have that history with Nintendo yet. But I'm throwing him in there because of the amiibo and because of the game series coming to it, which it's going to get more of the game releases. They're going to release 2 and 3 on it and whatnot. But given that it's a newer franchise to him, I'm not going to put him super high up because it's only recently been on Nintendo, but it has a history. You can foresee it's going to have a history with Nintendo. I'm giving him a 55% chance, a smidge over, 5% over Doomguy. And I know Doomguy has more history with Nintendo. And Bethesda has been supporting Nintendo more than, I don't know, From Software and Namco, at least in terms of like Dark Souls specifically. But I think there's potential there. There's a potential there because he already has an amiibo, which could mean something. And like it represents a new franchise that's now starting its history on Nintendo and could have more in the future. And it represents a popular franchise, and it can go either way. 55% chance still puts him practically in the middle. It's not like I'm thinking he's super likely. It's just there's a lot of third-party characters that are above him, but there's a lot of third-party characters that are below him too. He's kind of in the middle ground alongside like Doomguy, but he's not higher up, like in the slightly higher crowd like Travis Touchdown or Phoenix Wright or Shantae and whatnot, or the super high crowd like Crash Bandicoot or Rayman or a Monster Hunter or something. So there you go. 55% chance I think is pretty good at it still overall. So yeah, that's it for the Solaire of Astora, Knight Solaire. And put in the comment section what you guys think. Do you guys want to see Dark Souls represented? Would the Solaire of Astora be a cool character to add for a third-party character in Smash Brothers? Is my reasons why he deserves to be in, or Dark Souls deserves to be in, make sense? What reasons would you have? Do you even not want to see it? Do you just not see it? Moveset ideas. Does my moveset sound good? What moveset ideas would you give him? Is 55% chance too low, too high? I think it's decent. I think it's a decent for a character that's like representing Dark Souls and whatnot. So yeah. Put in the comment section down below. Discuss it there. We have fun. That's character number 77. And when I return with character number 78, I am jumping back into the world of Nintendo. I'm starting to line up with now 3 more Nintendo characters, and I'm just going to jump on the train and talk about the next Fire Emblem 3 Houses character when I talk about the Lance user, Dimitri. See you all later.